Hello.
Hello. How are
How's
you
it
this
going?
fine day? I'm wonderful. I'm absolutely wonderful.
You are wonderful.
Thank you, baby. Okay, let's start again.
How are you, Andrew?
I'm just great. And you? Jane?
Phenomenal.
Excellent. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
You've been traveling.
I have been traveling. It's good to be back. Um, you know, makes you realize what you have
Yeah?
in the world
Oh,
and
man.
the, you know, the fact that we don't really have a lot of written history here in Canada, especially on the West Coast. So that's interesting to me. Yeah, just really cool.
So explain that comment, because where were you that had written history, and what written history are we talking about?
Portugal,
Right.
and England,
Right.
and
Yeah.
thousands of years of 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 development. It's really interesting to see all the especially in Portugal, all the development around the land, in the wine industry, and how every single piece of land is used.
Hmm.
Anyway,
And that's a
did
good
you?
thing, or that's, I guess it's a good thing that
Uh,
every single piece of land is used, or there's a purpose for it, is what you're saying, or?
yeah, it's just really
Mhm.
interesting.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm just looking here. This is not the PowerPoint I put together.
I put up a PowerPoint as well, but I don't see the power. You need to upload your own PowerPoint.
Yes, I did that.
Huh.
That's
Okay.
weird. Okay, hold on a second.
Well, we can go into the stats while you're doing that, and I do have the stats on this one.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
go into the stats.
Okay. That's not the stats. That's the back. Here's the stats. I have stats. Stats are from last week for the last 7 days, and these are telling us what's happened. And it's a good little snapshot that we like to review every week about what's happened in the market. So in the last week, we've had 223 new listings go to market, and we had 110 listings from the full inventory go pending, meaning that they went under unconditional contract. And from there, we also had 148 price decreases. You want to comment on that, Jane, or any of this?
Yeah, so actually in when I brought up last month's stats in my PowerPoint, and I can see that compared to last month, we have more pending this month, which is really great.
Hmm.
And price decreases, we are up from last month.
Absolutely.
We were at
Yeah.
110 last month. And then I was looking also at solds. So solds, we are
Hmm.
down compared to last month.
Okay. And sold are the ones that actually went to unconditional contract, transferring ownership, and we're going to see those go up and down depending on time of the month. But yeah, I mean, the price decreases. I mean, I can take credit for one of those, at least my clients can. Certainly, seeing activity is slow, and trying to get people's eyes on the prize in terms of looking at homes. We keep getting feedback, that it's nice, but could use this, could use that, or whatever. But it seems to be price is what's, at some point price will bring people to the door, but we haven't yet found that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next slide.
Well, we haven't finished this one. So
Oh,
I'll just quickly say we had 3 properties go back on market. 49 properties expired unsold, meaning again their listing contracts finished without having a successful sale. 12 properties were withdrawn for whatever reason, whether it was personal reasons or strategic. So now we're into this one. You go ahead with this one, Jane.
so again, so we have 225 unconditional sales to date. That's compared to 745 for October of 2021. and compared to last month, we're actually up. So we were at 131 month over month at this time. New listings were at 544 compared to 866 for the month of October in
Which actually
2021.
would suggest that we may actually have, by the end of the month, a number close to or above that 866.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And active listings, we are recovering. So that's good. 2,256. And hopefully they'll have more choice for buyers.
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding is, buyers are actually able to go out and look at properties without, finding that we make a showing request and only to find that before we can view it, it's already under contract or has an offer coming in that we just aren't able to get into it and see it. So that's nice. So what are we here to talk about today, Jane? We're talking about
foreign buyers. I've got some information here. If you want, I can switch over to my PowerPoint.
Yeah, if you've got a PowerPoint and want to bring it up, good. I've got some stuff on mine as well. We can swing back and forth.
Okay, well, I went to the buyer origin, so I'm going to have to just remove that, and I'm going to have to share. Okay. Hold on a second.
So we in BC have had a foreign buyers prohibition for a few years now, but the federal government has now put out a foreign buyers prohibition, which is going to be effective January 1st. And
right.
So that's what we're talking about today.
Can you see the big buyer origin thing?
I can, yes.
Okay. So I think this was a shock to everybody that they were doing this. It does happen. It's been happening in BC, in Vancouver, as well as 5 different municipalities.
The prohibition.
Right, for foreign buyers. There's been an extra tax of 20%. So the federal government has said that they're just going to ban foreign buyers because they think that it's impacting money coming into Canada and that there are vacant properties.
Right, and they're buying properties, holding them as a holding property, leaving them vacant, and so it's making housing unavailable for local residents.
So we've reviewed this a few times during our show, which has now been going on, I think, 2 years. Is it 2 years? 1 year?
Really? No, it's got to be about a year. Okay.
Anyway, 88%.
We have an anniversary to celebrate then, maybe. We're going to have to look into this.
Yeah. 88% or 88.89%. So 89% of people buying in BC are actually from BC. 9.86% of them are from elsewhere in Canada, and 1.25 are from outside of Canada.
And that's stats from the Victoria Real Estate Board, buyer origin, and this is what's been filled in by agents as they. So I've got a cat trying to drink my water. As they fill in these forms. So this is not an official report, but this is anecdotal based on our colleagues filling in based on the origins of their clients.
So when they dug a little deeper into those stats and they looked at what are the actual origins of out of town buyers, so 66.74% of them are from BC, outside of Victoria. Right. 29.52% of them are from elsewhere in Canada, and 3.74% of them are from outside of Canada.
Right. And so that's not a huge amount of people to be banning. It's not going to have a profound impact, we suspect, on the real estate market. Where the BC ban, it wasn't exactly a ban, it was a huge tax. And so there was still a possibility of a foreign buyer buying. Now, this is a comprehensive ban on purchasing, without an option to just pay more in order to buy a property.
And just looking here at the total listings and total MLS sales, you can see we're already getting to a point where the market's cooling. This isn't a foreign buyer problem. This was a COVID problem, and we're entering back into what's I consider to be kind of a normal market. What do you think?
We keep finding that the government is bringing in legislation to protect consumers or to help mitigate the housing market. But what they're doing seems to always be a little too late, or just going down the wrong path entirely, not really taking a clear look at the reality on the ground of what the situation is. So this is going to harm, of course, some foreign buyers. There's going to be people who are going to have legitimate reasons for wanting to come here and buy property. Maybe they're for schooling or something, but this isn't going to have a profound impact on any of the markets, I would say.
So I dug a little deeper into this, and I'll just share. Well, I'll just go on to it. So I went to the real estate magazine to see what they were saying, and they were saying the legislation was passed in June. It's anticipated this will help reduce foreign money coming into Canada to buy real estate. However, actually, the president of RE/MAX Canada, executive vice president, said he didn't think that, first of all, many people weren't aware of it, and he didn't think it was going to make a difference. They believed that it's going to be similar to the experience of what happened in BC when the foreign buyer tax was implemented in 2016. And then the speculation and vacancy tax was implemented in 2018. It had a negligible effect. And then they went on to talk to Phil Soper, who's the president and CEO of Royal LePage. And there's been a long tradition, he says, in Canadian politics, both at the provincial and federal levels, for looking for investors as a problem of housing in this country. It's mostly unfounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and they're an easy.
If you're looking for a reference to that article, I've just posted it in the comments if anyone's interested in actually reading the article.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, one thing that he says too is that the second thing that makes it less concerning in terms of practical terms is that it doesn't include recreational properties. So Canadians are the largest buyers of recreational property in the United States, for example. And they're also Canadians are also foreign buyers in places like Latin America. So if we were banned from purchasing properties in other countries, you know, I can just imagine.
Right. Yeah. And so you've got to imagine too that, you know, we do have probably a higher proportion of Americans buying recreational properties than, for example, a second accommodation in a township in an urban center. It's going to be more attractive as a vacation spot to buy those recreational properties, perhaps just as we would going down south.
So they did have a consultation up that was, I guess, published in September, and it's now closed. And so, it's coming into law.
This is a done deal. It's going to be here. And I guess, I mean, for anybody watching this, is maybe we're already saying it's a non-issue, so this is probably kind of boring for you to watch, simply because, you know, how does this impact you? What impact does it have? And, you know, we're really saying it probably won't have much impact at all.
Well, there's some interesting things. Like if you are, there's some buyers here. Oh, this is you. If you do help somebody acquire property who is a foreign buyer, you actually may be fined up to $10,000. So just so you're aware. And also, it doesn't affect people who have permanent residency or who are temporary workers. So that's interesting to me.
I'm going to bring my my slideshow back up if you're done with yours.
Yeah.
I've got some of this. Yeah. Let me bring this back up.
And this is the actual. Okay. Yeah. This is the actual referral to the magazine or to the CMHC information guide. Okay.
CMHC information package. Okay. So Real Estate Magazine, we were discussing this foreign buyers ban. The prohibition, again, is on residential purchases by non-Canadians and coming into effect January 2023. So it does not affect, again, Canadian citizens or permanent residents. Okay. So, and it's only for a period of 2 years. It's going to apply just to residential properties, as we mentioned, and direct or indirect purchases, And of course, there's penalties, as Jane alluded to, for non-compliance. And that includes any person or entity knowingly assisting a non-Canadian in violating these prohibitions. So don't try to work your way around this. You will get yourself into some deep water. That article from the Real Estate Magazine had some interesting comments on it, which I found interesting. And again, if you go to the link, you'll find them. But the comments were really mostly saying this is not going to have too much impact, too little, too late. They were recommending, actually, if you want to have more availability of housing for Canadians, we should be boosting construction, reducing red tape for developments. There was a great recommendation of reducing land transfer tax for seniors, maybe allowing them to move more cleanly and easily from their existing larger home into a smaller home and freeing up that space.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And there was another comment that says Switzerland, Denmark, and New Zealand have had a ban on foreign buying for decades. And they alluded to actually Great Britain and said that there are some areas of Great Britain which have been bought up by foreign investment and are just kind of sitting vacant. And I don't have any background to comment on that myself, but that being the case, I guess this is what our government is trying to protect from as well.
Well, the other thing is it's not violating the rights of people who are already here, who are working towards permanent residency. Apparently, they are allowing that. And those who are students, so people who have, I guess, already moved here, who are like temporary workers who are in Canada already, it shouldn't affect them. So that's nice.
I don't see that. I would say to anyone listening to that, and Jane, I just saying based on what I've just read and seen of this, we should confirm that that's actually true.
Okay, well, I just posted the link to the article from CMHC.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so CMHC, that's their position.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the other thing is I do have a foreign buyer right now purchasing. Mm-hmm. And so we actually moved the closing date from January until December.
Yeah, and so that's another piece. I'm just drawing up to this. So Canadian Real Estate Association interprets this new rule to mean that any non-Canadian buying and entering into agreement on or before December 31st, 2022 will not be subject to the prohibition. You may still be subject to, if you're buying in BC, the 20% foreign buyer's tax, but you won't be subject to actual prohibition.
So interestingly, the person who I'm helping purchase, last time they purchased was when the 20% tax came in for foreign buyers. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, let's move this up.
Yeah. So Canadian Real Estate Association did respond, and this is the Association of Realtors Canada-wide. And again, I'll throw in a link to this as well.
Do you have the Coles notes for that?
No, but I will Coles note it. I can speed read through this. So I just put the link in, and oops. So, I mean, they're saying essentially the effects are largely isolated to large metropolitan markets and no statistically significant impact on smaller communities. So they're saying this is really going to be a non-issue for most people. They're recommending treating the property owners from U.S., Mexico as a similar fashion to Canadians to avoid a reciprocal response, which is what you were referring to about, Canadians do buy in the States and in Mexico. So by banning all foreign buyers, which include United States citizens and Mexican citizens, we could end up with a reciprocal response saying no, Canadians now cannot buy down there. It should consider exempting purchase of established dwellings for redevelopment because it doesn't currently exempt, vacant land or development land. So they're suggesting that it should consider exempting houses also purchased for redevelopment. Consider what's already going on in terms of existing measures. For example, our current 20% housing 20% foreign buyer ban, and it should be reevaluated. And take into consideration compliance burden of implementation. That's always the case, once you start implementing these things, you have to police them, and how hard is it to take care of that? And just recognizing that housing needs vary across the provinces. So that's kind of the CREA's suggestions on this to try to mitigate or have a measured response.
Yeah. So that's all well.
Say what you want to say, Jane. Say what you want to say.
I don't think it'll make a difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do think we have to be careful. I get where people are coming from, but to me, it seems like to be a bit of a right-wing philosophy, in that they are blaming foreigners for the problem when the problem really is supply. The whole thing with COVID is everyone was trying to get out of small spaces and into their own spaces. And so housing took off. The market was crazy. Housing market was solid. That's where people moved their money. And now they're moving it out. So.
And again, all of these responses are always, just like a big freighter ship that's, barreling across the Atlantic. You need to adjust course, and you turn the tiller. You don't have a tiller on those, but you turn the wheel, and it takes a long time before that ship starts to actually turn. It will take a long time for there to be an impact or a reaction to your. You need to be thinking far ahead when you're moving a big ship like this, or trying to move an economy. And these kind of effects, I'd rather see them doing things that are going to be more proactive than this.
Yeah.
So you had a slide earlier talking about, movement between provinces, and this is what this shows as historically movement between provinces, net interprovincial migration. And so we've got a lot more people coming from other provinces in the last few years. I don't have a 2022 stats yet, but
where's that from? That stat?
This is from the source is 1710-0015-01. I'm not sure where that stat is from, but this one looks like it's comes from the Capital Regional District. And this is actually showing so these numbers here, this bar on the left, or this line on the left going up to 80, that's the actual number of physical, people coming in. So, in 2017, there was, quite a few more people coming in. There was actually an impact on, once this 20% foreign buyers tax came in, it definitely did have an impact and dropped the foreign buyers quite significantly. Average about 0.6% is what was a calculation by Leo Spelteholz from House Hunt Victoria, and he's a realtor at Royal LePage as well. And he put together some stats for us and did a presentation.
Average 0.6% what?
I would say of all buyers, because these numbers are showing, each month maybe up to 10 here, maybe 20 here. You can't see this, I guess, but mid-year 2022 is 20, and the last month there was probably 10.
Okay, so
buyers, and that's of the percentage of all buyers is 0.6%.
Is this saying in January of 2017, over 60% of buyers were foreign buyers?
No, just 60 buyers, 60 bums in seats on a bus.
Oh.
Out of all the buyers. And so out of all the buyers now, since the implementation of the 20% tax, it's been 0.6%. These numbers down below, running between numbers of actual buyers per month, running between maybe 1 to 10, 1 to 20 at the highest over here. That's representing the number of actual buyers. The actual percentage of buyers compared to all of the buyers for that month is 0.6%.
I just want to go back to this one. The net provincial migration doesn't surprise me because of, especially during COVID, a lot of people were able to work wherever they wanted to work. And so this is into BC, but I would be interested to see how this compares to other provinces, because I know a lot of people move to, for instance, the Maritimes because housing was so cheap there. So I think it's
Well,
a
why don't we do that at some point? Try to
yeah.
find those stats and put those together.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at BC, but we really need to look at there was a net migration of people all around the world, out of urban areas into more rural areas as well during COVID. And is that I'm feeling like it's coming back, it's bouncing back. People are moving back into condos and stuff like that. But also interprovincially, people were moving from high density to lower density places as well. So anyway.
Yeah. I think
Interesting.
that kind of covers all we could cover on this particular. I think we've squeezed every inch we can out of this topic. Do you have anything further to say?
I guess, I don't know. I have a problem with it only because there are people in the world who choose to move to Canada and now won't be able to. Because there may be people who have extenuating circumstances like war where they are, and I think really this doesn't emanate any sensitivity,
right,
I guess, to them.
Well, and I've worked with people who are working to get their permanent residency. They're married to a Canadian citizen. They have every intention of living here permanently, and the foreign buyers tax, hit them. This will hit them. There are people with legitimate wants and needs, and again, put the hat on of if you were planning to move to the States for a job and you wanted to buy a property down there because it's going to be, let's say, a 5 to 10 year window for living there. But it's going to be forced to rent as opposed to own. It's going to make it less attractive for you to go down there to do that. And so we talk about brain drain and, bringing people in who are, have skills and talents, and people with skills and talents, not always, but, will often have some money to invest in our country. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I know that the intention is to try to avoid, the intention is try to help those people who are already here, established as Canadian citizens, because the priority is, to service and give back to Canadian citizens, and any profits that are garnered from real estate stay within Canada. But I think you're throwing baby out with the bathwater when you're doing something like this.
I agree. Cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I think again I think we squeezed enough out of this, and let's. I think.
Okay. So if you're non-Canadian and don't have your PR, buy now before December 31st. Otherwise, you won't be able to buy for 2 years. I don't know how they're going to prevent that, but anyway. And other than that, any great lessons?
This was the lesson today, and it wasn't. It was. Yeah, it's take it for what it is. It's more of the interventions that we're seeing from government, and it's going to be obviously always the case that when there's a problem in real estate, government thinks they can fix it with some legislation, and actually that's entirely true. It's just about the right implementation, the right timing, and measured responses. So, yeah. Okay,
so everybody, don't forget to subscribe. We'd love to see you every Monday morning. And if you have questions or information that you want on real estate, we're happy to come and answer it. Andrew, how do they reach you?
Yeah, so just reach out anytime. You can reach me by email at info@andrewplank.com. Text me at 250-360-6106. Give me a call. If I don't answer, leave a message, please. My website, andrewplank.com, contains a lot of resources, including a blog and version of all the publications of this show. And then I'm on Instagram at plankandrew, which will, again, as I say, mostly have pictures of my cat.
And everybody, my name is Jane Johnston. My number is 250-744-0775. You can reach me at briarhillgroup@gmail.com. My website's briarhillgroup.com. Or for those moving to Victoria from away, you can go to vancouverislandtime.com, where you can see videos on neighborhoods and all of these. My Instagram's Realty Teacher Remax Victoria, and Vancouver Island Luxury Living. All right. So we're open here every Monday morning. As we said, please message us with questions you have about real estate. We know we do get a lot of realtors here, so we'd love to hear from you. What do you want to know about what's happening in real estate? See you next Monday.
See everyone. Thanks so much.
Okay, bye.